Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch was a 2025 addition to the 2024 Cubitus model line, launched in late 2024 as an all-new Patek Philippe collection. The initial Cubitus sports watch models were nominally 45 millimeters in diameter. This launched at Watches and Wonders in 2025 as what is effectively the mid-size of the collection. So you're looking at the Cubitus 7128/1G-001. So 40 millimeters nominally, more on that in a moment, in white gold. It's 8.6 millimeters thick, and if you look at it in profile, you can see it's 39.9 millimeter lug-to-lug, and if you include the first link on each side, which I find to be a reliable reference point for fit, then total distance across the wrist is 44 millimeters. It is a surprisingly weighty little watch. Despite not being the big Cubitus, so to speak, it's got quite a lot of mass to it. And you can see that on the scale, 194.21 grams. That is deeply impressive for something that is approximately the size of a standard Datejust. And by that, I mean it doesn't wear like a 40. Nominally a 40, you can see once it's on the wrist, it appears quite a bit more compact. I can wear the 45 millimeter version with no problem, and that's almost never the case with a standard 45. So I would encourage you to think of this as one of the few integrated bracelet watches that actually wears smaller than its rated size. Think of it as more of a 36 or a 37, and you've got the idea. Look over the top. The lugs are nowhere near the edge of my 16 centimeter wrist. Down the barrel, again, the lugs are miles from the edge of my wrist. This could easily wear on a 14 centimeter circumference wrist, maybe even 13.5, and it will easily slide under a cuff. It's a nicely made bracelet, and as you can see, this is probably where it most resembles the Nautilus, as the bracelet design is almost indistinguishable from its older cousin. You can see a combination of polish and satin. We've got shoulder bevels. We have removable links fixed by pins and sleeves, which is how Patek likes to make its bracelets these days, on the assumption that you can't strip out a screw and thus you can't strand a link. That is the purpose of these pin sleeves. You can also see we have these intermediate sized links that allow us to fine-tune the fit. So if we find ourselves in between with the sizing of the standard removable links, we've got these intermediate sized links. And then we've also got a little bit of a micrometric adjustment built in. You can see how you push the tab, you slide it out, you can slide it in, slide it out, a little bit of tool-free adjustment, and there's two of them. So on each side you have that same degree of adjustability. A double folding clasp, you can see when you close it, we have the Patek Philippe logo, the Calatrava cross. Open it up, you can see little components of the cross in there. It is a twin trigger release, so you must press both of them for it to pop open. It can't fly open inadvertently. The watch is 30 meters water resistant with a screw down crown, but the construction is essentially the same as the 5711, which had 120 meter water resistance, and I believe that is closer to the actual water resistance now that Patek has rated all of its watches, almost without exception, save the minute repeaters and the chiming watches, as 30 meters. So this is a swimmable watch, have no doubt about that. Also worth mentioning with respect to the construction of the watch is this gold. It's white gold, yes, but it's gray gold, a type of 18 karat white gold that's white all the way through and never needs to be rhodium plated. The case construction and the intricacy of the decoration is more like the Nautilus than the Aquanaut, and that's always been one of the reasons the Nautilus costs more than the Aquanaut. It's just a more involved fabrication, and certainly between fabrication and finishing, that's the case here too. Satin polish, several different focal planes and sub-assemblies. We've got the case back, we've got the mid case, we've got the bezel with the wings that lower down from the top. You can see faceting, polish, satination for contrast, and then we've got the outer bezel, inner bezel, crystal, and dial, all featuring the same sort of rounded square form. And so I'll let you decide whether this is a rounded square or whether these side facets actually turn it into more of an octagon. Taking a quick look now at the dial, this is what Patek Philippe calls sunburst metallic blue-gray, and it certainly is that, having a little bit of a slate aesthetic. It has the lateral striations of a nautilus. It also has a brushed sunburst pattern. It's a little bit more difficult to pick up on camera, but it's there. Date frame, indices, and hands, all white golds. They won't tarnish or oxidize over time. And then we have no shortage of luminescence. This watch uses a 26-330 SC movement. You can see it has the distinctive Cubitus exclusive rotor with Calatrava cross and lateral striations. We have solarization on there. We also have media blast. We have engine turning on the center, stripes across the bridges. You can also see engine turning on the base plate, high quality rounded anglage on the edge of the bridges as well as in the jewel sinks. Take a look. We have solarization on top of the barrel cover. Locating pegs for the balance cock have been polished on the tops. Screw heads are all mirror finished with chamfered slots in circumference. Take another look at the bevel. Automatic winding with unidirectional action and ceramic bearings for optimized winding efficiency. It's a 4 Hz beat rate. It's a 45-hour power reserve. Free-sprung Gyromax style balance for greater shock resistance and precision of adjustment. This is a 30 jewel movement that is -1 + 2 seconds accurate per 24 hours. It's also a 6-position adjustment, and the Gyromax balance has 2 roles in that. One is to make adjustment easier, especially precise adjustment easier. The other is to add shock resistance, as shock or concussion cannot easily displace the eccentric screws on the balance rim, and thus the timing is going to stay relatively stable. We also have a Spiromax anti-magnetic silicone hairspring, which endows the watch with more than just anti-magnetism. Because of the profile, it's a flat hairspring but deep reactive ion etching, which is the technology behind the fabrication of silicone parts, allows that hairspring to be profiled so it breathes concentrically in every position like an overcoil. And then we have a couple of other features worth mentioning, where the watch, being a 26-330 generation, is true hacking second. And we've also got a quick set system for the date. Perhaps the only oversight here is that the date disc is not the same color as the dial, but in almost every other regard, a very appealing watch, now right-sized for almost every wrist. So reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.